And welcome back to episode 156 of the Weekly Tech Wrap with me, Jay.
I'm me, Carl.
How you doing, Carl?
I'm all right. Just getting over the crazy that was CES.
I was just going to say, overwhelmed with all of the tech that
So
has come our
many
way.
things. I couldn't keep up.
It's been a good year. There are it was full on tech in terms of the usual suspects, computing tech, wasn't there, and all that kind of stuff. But I did have a quick roundup of some of the weirdest things that have been seen at CES this year. Apparently, there was pet things that allow you to put a plant in a plant pot, and it creates capacity of electricity from your plants. There was AI meat cookers. Basically, somebody has put a grill with an AI assistant in it to cook your steak.
Okay, why not?
Going one further, do you fancy a toothbrush with a computer in it?
I think I've already got one.
This one has got This one's got bone conducting, capabilities, so it will talk to you whilst
plays
you're brushing
music
your
or
teeth.
stuff to you as you brush your teeth.
Tips to brush your teeth. Yeah.
Right.
Dead mouse alarm for your cat. A special new cat flap that's got a dead mouse alarm.
Okay.
And what was the other? Oh, the other one I don't know if you saw this one, was called the Rabbit R1.
I did. That's that AI kind of Tamagotchi looking thing.
Yeah, so the Rabbit R1 was one that I thought was actually quite cool, wasn't it? It was like a little Star Trek style communicator app that you can talk to an AI assistant properly, isn't it? And it had a camera built in, certainly.
It did, and the AI assistant's meant to go and do your tasks and stuff for you.
It is, isn't it? So some of the weird here. Well, we could probably do a 4-hour plus show on all of the tech at CES this year, but we have got for you the roundup of what we feel is probably the more kind of suited to our audience, isn't it? Tech, which is pretty much everything from Lenovo's new ThinkBook. We're going to talk about Wi-Fi, Intel's new chips, AMD's new chips. What I can describe is probably one of the biggest TVs I've ever seen. And if you'd like a brand new folding monitor, we've also got one of those for you. Plus, Asus's new Nooks, which are the small computers, but small is probably not quite the word I'd use for this one. And we've got a Steam Deck competitor as well that's come out. Plus a little story at the end regarding the SEC's X or Twitter account, which we'll come back to in a bit. But then, Carl, let's kick off then with the first bit of tech from this CES, which is the new Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 5. Is that it? Good God.
Yeah, that's the one. So this is a really interesting concept, because at first I thought it was just your traditional laptop. It looks like a Surface Book clone. So if anyone's seen a Surface Book or even a Surface Pro, you can take the screen off from the keyboard and just use it as a tablet. But this really gets a bit different, because the screen and the keyboard are both laptops, computers. So you take the keyboard off, and the keyboard has a Windows 11 PC in it. It's got a Core Ultra 7, up to 32 gig of RAM, 1 TB SSD, etc. Fully self-contained. But the screen, when you just connect it, it's an Android tablet. With I think it's got a 14-inch 2.8K OLED screen, Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip, 12 gig of RAM, and its own battery for 38 watt-hours of battery on it. But yeah, when they're connected, it's a complete laptop. Take it apart, it's 2 step one. So I suppose you plug the keyboard part into a monitor, give a tablet to someone else to use, kids, I don't know, whatever. But I just thought it was an interesting concept. I'm not sure how expensive it's going to be.
I was I was like, what is this? What does he actually want to be? Because it appears to be 2 different devices, really, doesn't it? That mash together to give you a third device.
Yeah, that's it.
And I was kind of, like you say, when I was reading it, I was like, no, it's going to be a screen, but then it was like, no, the screen's actually an Android tablet. It was like, what? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's really cool, and it looks actually like a decent build. It looks quality, but I just don't know quite where I'd use it.
Yeah, that was my question. What is the use
It's cool.
Case
it got that part of me. I like it. It's cool, but I don't know if I'd actually use it or how I'd use it. Yeah.
And would being an Android tablet would it have crossover to the laptop part if you've got apps or data? There's all kinds of weird questions I was like having.
There is a shared folder that you can drag something into, and it'll appear on both of them. But I don't know. Surely it's going to be a bit further integration than that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is very early days, like you say. The first reports have only come from the Lenovo stand at CES, so we haven't really seen one in real life yet, isn't it? The pictures have all been kind of early on.
Still an interesting take, something a bit different.
Well, given the whole, I guess, push to have these, laptops. You've got the service one that did that, didn't we? You've got like, obviously the iPad that has keyboards that disconnect now. There's a whole kind of having these kind of
Yeah.
midway two in one or kind of multi-use devices. But yes, this definitely takes it to a whole new level, doesn't it? But yeah, pricing will be interesting on this. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind having a play with one, definitely.
But I think I think I saw somewhere, wasn't it a price somewhere closer to, or the guesstimated price maybe about $2,000 or something? I think was what I saw
Yeah,
possibly.
it's going to be expensive than just the one without the Android tablet plugged on.
Yeah, and where will it compare though to a normal laptop? And that being an Android tablet, I'm guessing that must add some additional weight into the
You've
screen
got two
side
separate
of it as
batteries. Yeah,
well.
you've got a battery in the screen and a battery in the keyboard.
But there you go, for a starter for five, probably a good place to be then. So what are we calling this? A Franken laptop, Frank tab?
Not the ThinkBook Plus Gen 5. What a name.
God, that is a mouthful, isn't it? Really? Okay, all right. What we got next then? Tell me what we got next.
Wi-Fi. You can never have it fast enough. So Wi-Fi 7.
Hang on, isn't the internet just Wi-Fi? Is that what they always say?
It's still Wi-Fi. Yeah, of course. It's just my Wi-Fi doesn't work. The internet, it's anyway. Yeah, Wi-Fi 7 has officially been announced and certified device as well. It was announced a little while ago, wasn't it? And we've actually already seen devices out in the wild, but now it's been finalized. The spec has, and they started certifying devices. But apparently, this can do over 40 gigs a second. Don't think we're going to see it anywhere close to that in the real world.
I was just going to say to you, what, I won't until I see that on my own device or a device that I'm running. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because what was? I mean, Wi-Fi 6.
So that's 6 or 6E.
Well, Wi-Fi 6, wasn't it? Was meant to give you up to potentially between maximum links rate of 600 to 9 gig.
Yeah, but pretty much 99% of the stuff that shipped all had 1 gigabit Ethernet connections. So you were never going to get over a gig.
No, because there was no the backplane on it wasn't fast enough, was it?
No, you had to go to a big beefy enterprise gear to get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've announced, they've said 40 gig. They've said it will use 6 gigahertz as well. So using some feature called MLO to dynamically assign channels and frequencies for better performance. So I don't know. Look, there's already one device being announced from Unify. I just saw that the other day.
They did, yeah.
Their U7 Pro, though I'm not entirely sure it's a Pro class device, but it seemed quite reasonable. It's got 2x2 MIMO, which is a drop down from their usual kit, because quite often they have 3x3 or 4x4. So you're losing some of the radios there, but apparently it will still support 300 clients, has PoE Plus, and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet connection for a very reasonable $190.
It was. Did you see though? So this multi-link operation, the MLO piece, which gives you the different channels and basically, that won't be available on release. That will come.
Will it not? I must have missed that one.
Yeah. So the MLO piece won't come out until February 24 for the.
So you've got to, if you buy it now, you've got to hope your manufacturer actually updates.
Well, I must
buy a new device.
Caveat for that. That's a unified device. I don't know whether or not that's going to affect any other manufacturer. But
so that's a Unify. Sorry, not Oh, okay. Unify probably will. But I thought, compared to some of the Wi-Fi 7 devices I've seen, and bear in mind they've got 4x4 radios rather than 2x2, this is very reasonably priced compared to those.
I think it is good. And given that if you've got existing Unify access points, that's what I was thinking of. You can mount them using the existing amount, so you don't. If you were just doing an upgrade, and you could swap them over. Yeah. The other thing I really liked about that, it's got a 2.5 gig uplink on those devices. That's what caught. Yeah, that was what caught my eye. I was like, that's brilliant. So actually, that's a much cheaper way of overhauling your network, isn't it? With 2.5, than getting maybe to 10 gig. So they are pretty good devices. Whether I would move that straight away is probably debatable at the minute. I'm not pushing.
My device is still Wi-Fi 5. I don't think I've moved to Wi-Fi 6 yet, so maybe it's the time I move to 7.
Well, that was a good question you there about would you do it. I had a look at my current Unify setup, and I had some devices running Wi-Fi 6.
Okay, well, you've got Wi-Fi 6 access points.
Well, I wondered that, and then I thought, hang on, is it? Then I looked a bit deeper into it, and I realised what it was saying was, no, they were compatible.
They could do 6 if you bought some more of our gear. Was it an
I was
upsell
like,
from
what? I was
Unify?
like, yeah. So but all of mine are Wi-Fi 5. I've
Yeah,
got I've got the same as you. I've got the Flex HDs plus
AC
the what they
Pros.
call it, the Pro devices. I've got and the UAP AC lights as well. I've
Okay.
got 2 of those,
No, I've
the
got
light
2 AC
devices.
Pros and 2 of the Flex HDs.
But they are, they're pretty good. I mean, I've got pretty much Wi-Fi 5 across the board. That appears to be the complete and utter strength of it. But I swear, same as you, I swear by Unify. The system does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a good bit of kit, isn't it? We don't use
Yep.
it to the full-on capacity that we could do, but it is, they do make good kit and affordable kit, really, as well. I think that's the other thing to think about, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Wi-Fi 7 is here then. I mean, we didn't really go to Wi-Fi 6 to be fair.
No, I wouldn't mind some. I mean, at least every 7 device has the 6 gigahertz stuff in it. That's part of the
that's a
spec.
good point.
Before
got
you had to
backwards
have
compatibility.
6E and not just 6 to get the 6 gigahertz stuff. So I may be tempted. I think I've got quite a few bit of kit that will do the 6E. Sorry, the 6 gigahertz stuff. So maybe
it'd be a good upgrade. Maybe. Cool then. So let's talk about CPUs, because obviously it wouldn't be CES if we didn't release the latest and greatest of CPUs from our friends over at Intel and AMD. And this is usually an opportunity for them to showcase their CPUs in new hardware as well. And Intel typically have their other partner manufacturers launch with it, laptops and things there as well. So Intel then have come out the bag with their new the full lineup of the 14th gen CPUs, haven't they? Which includes in that lineup one hell of a monster chip as well, isn't it?
The one we spoke about last week, wasn't it? It was that 6.2
it was
gigahertz
indeed,
one.
yeah.
Is it a 14900 something or other KS or?
So this is the super one is the 24 core i9-14900HX.
Oh, that's the laptop one.
Yeah, the laptop.
So they announced 18 new desktop ones, the 14th gen, and 5 new laptops. But yeah, the i9-14900HX is a, I'm going to say laptop loosely, because again, you wouldn't want that on your lap. It's going to eat through power. It's more one of those desktop laptops, like the gaming rigs.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that on my lap.
But no, you're right. It's a monster. So we get 8 P cores and 16 efficiency cores, all running at 5.8 gigahertz. Sorry, it's 5.8 turbo frequency. I don't know if they'll run all core at that, but yeah, quite beefy. They're claiming it's going to be AMD's 7945 X3D by 17% in gaming and 51% in virtual production tasks.
That is quite impressive stats. But again, this is Intel. This is like Apple. This is Intel's comparison point on it. This isn't, a real world example. Yeah, these are, as we've said before, you got to take the pinch of salt, because these comparisons are done in lab conditions, aren't they? With perfect disk setup. But even if it got 10% improvement, that would be pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a beefy chip. I didn't see how much power it used.
No, I didn't see the TDP
I didn't see a
on
slide
that.
on that one. So
Yeah,
I imagine a lot.
Well, given what it's going to be pumping out, as you say, these new laptop ones also support Wi-Fi 7 as well, including Wi-Fi 6E backwards compatibility. I guess they're going to run quite warm. I mean, imagine if you had a laptop chip that's going to bounce up to over 5 gig in speed. I mean, yeah, that's going to pump out some heat and churn through some power.
Intel haven't been renowned for their power efficiency recently, have they?
Well, you're not going to have that
efficiency cores.
Well, I was going to say, you're not going to have that not plugged in for a while, are you?
4 minutes battery life, maybe.
Yes. Hang on a minute. Oh no, it's all right.
No, it's gone down.
So these plus the new 14th gen desktop chips then are available. Are they only announced? They're not available yet, are they? I think some have already launched, but the full lineup isn't available yet. So what I can understand, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. So I didn't remember seeing a date, but I know they weren't out yet.
Okay, so what we've got then is the full lineup now of laptop, the full lineup of desktop for 14th gen. So we've got the Super HX laptop chip. We've then got, actually, I think the one we talked about last week, which was the i9-14900 desktop one, which is either the X, isn't it? The K.
The 6.2 gigahertz one.
That's the one. Yeah. But they, Intel's still claiming that they are faster than the Ryzen 9 7 9 series, aren't they? As well.
I mean, you're not going to come out though and say, "Here's our new chips. They're not as fast as the competition."
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be refreshing, but you're not going to say that.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. You know what? They're not as good as last year's.
By the competition.
No, that's all right. The other announcement there as well is that Intel also announced the update to the U series, didn't they, as well? Which is the kind of, in the old days, we'd have called them the kind of powered by Celery chips, wouldn't it? Like kind of Celeron style chips. The kind of.
These ones are now called the Intel Core Ultra or something, can't they?
Yeah, that's the ones.
Competition. AMD also announced some surprises. So obviously they brought out a new 8000G series, which it's the desktop ones with APUs in them. So they've announced kind of their, I don't know what you call it, their mid-range ones. They've not announced any new high-end ones yet. So they've given us two traditional, what I'd call traditional CPUs. So
right.
Ryzen 5 and a Ryzen 7, with 6-core 12 threads or 8-core 16 threads. A reasonable price is $229, $329. But the ones that are kind of interesting is where they've now introducing some what they call Zen 4 C cores, which are a bit like Intel's E cores. So they've given us a Ryzen 5 with 2 full Z4 cores and 4 of their Z4 C cores. So for 179, it's quite good. They've got one OEM one that's really, really weird. So Ryzen 3, it has 1 normal core and 3 efficiency cores.
I saw that one. That really kind of stood out, didn't it?
OEMs only, so I'm not sure when we're going to see a review of that one. That's really odd. It'll be interesting to see how that performed.
Yeah, so that, as she says, that's the Ryzen 3 8300G, isn't it? Which is that new OEM one. You're right. Yes, that was weird. Base frequency as well was obviously lower because it's a Ryzen 3, but it wasn't slow by any standards, really, was it? When you looked at it, it also came with the the R740M GPU built in, but you didn't get the NPU.
No, so the NPUs are only in the traditional ones, the full fat core ones. You'll get AMD's version of the NPU, just like Intel now putting the NPUs in there. So NPUs for everyone.
Yeah, so I was kind of thinking where, like you say, being OEM only, I was like, where would we see it? I was trying to think, is that going to be kind of, I guess, in those,
is this going to be
bit like the U? Well, that's what I've said about Intel and their U series chip. Yeah. I wonder, is this a competitor to the U series chip for those applications for, built-in devices, single, no upgradable components, all that kind of stuff. Really, really locked down, low-end laptop, or maybe
like
some kind of
sock kind of thing.
Yeah, that's the whole one. Yeah, I mean, at the top end, the new Ryzen 7 8700, again, decent looking chip. As you said, was it that one you said was it eight of the
8 core 16 threads for the 7?
That's the one. Yeah,
$329. It's a mid-range chip,
with a decent CPU in it, mind.
Yeah, exactly. So
sorry, GPU. Sorry, GPU. I meant sorry. Yeah,
interesting to see how that performs.
So given that AMD, I mean, obviously we're going to see more from AMD coming up, aren't we? So obviously they've only announced these early chips here.
Yeah.
But we would imagine then, like Intel, AMD's focus is going to be, I hate to say it, AI.
It is. And normally these aren't anything new. The 7000 series had Zen 4 as well. This is a midlife refresh. Zen 5, I think, I'm not sure if Zen 5 was out this year or next year. I can't remember where we are with that now. And that'll be a big jump again.
The one that caught my eye, though, in their kind of little press singer was saying that according to AMD, the 800 series processors are the fastest desktop PC processor graphics in the world. I was a bit puzzled by that one. I was like,
the fastest desktop CPU with integrated graphics.
Yeah, I was like, that's not
very niche with our wording. Yeah,
I was gonna say the wording was very like, are you sure that's kind of what you mean here, or are you trying to tell me something that's not quite?
So yes, you probably are, because you're up against Intel's integrated graphics. That's the only competition. So and while they have got better with their Xe stuff, I don't think they're up to AMD GPU wise yet.
Not yet, no. So alongside them, these new chips, they also announced some updates for the previous generation, didn't they? Well, the Ryzen 5000
They did.
CPUs.
That was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting to see any of those, but they did announce, was it 4 new CPUs for the older AM4 Zen 3 platform? We even got another X3D chip. So they did release a 5700 X3D, 8 CPU cores, 16 threads, with that nice big chunk of L3 cache, which helps so much with gaming, at ridiculously low 249.
And I kind of read through this and I was like, man, this is annoying because that price is really attractive, especially that 5700 X3D. So that's an 8 core, 16 thread,
Yeah.
you know, running again up to a 4.1 turbo boosting on that, or max boost, what they're AMD's words, and 105 watt TDP. I mean, compared to my Intel, and AMD compare that chip to the i5 3600K, which is what the chip
Which is
I've
what
got.
you've got, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's slightly more expensive. A recommended retail price of $280. But I
249.
mean, it's not bad at all. It's that longevity there. But they, as you say, they announced also alongside that, say the Ryzen the 5700 and the
Yeah.
5600 GT and the 55 GT as well,
And those
respectively.
two have got integrated graphics in them. So just some, low end market ones. But again, they are very low, $125 and $140 for those GT ones. Very, very cheap.
Yeah, this is definitely where I think AMD are are in their sweet spot, isn't it? These particular types of chips.
Yep.
I'm not suggesting their high end ones are not good; they are very good. But AMD do really well in this mid market section, and I think, quite frankly, they're better bang for buck than the Intel equivalents. And we kind of said that
Especially
last year,
if you
didn't
say
we?
if you're looking at these and you think, oh, I'm going to budget system, I'm doing some very light gaming, mostly office stuff. Don't need a discrete GPU. This is plenty of bang for buck.
Yeah, it is absolutely bang for buck. You could build a really good system on these AMD chips, and I think even if you were looking to, whether you were upgrading an older system, that has the same socket in it, maybe you think you want to get a CPU upgrade, or whether you, as you say, you want to get your bang for buck. It really good, really are value for money, and they're available from the end of this month as well. So there isn't a long wait period. I guess you got to wait for stockists to have them in.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, definitely a one to keep an eye on. I'd be interested to see the benchmarks on that 5700 X3D when they come out.
Yeah, especially for the price.
Awesome, awesome. So let's I think so. That was everything on
That was all
CPUs,
on
wasn't it?
chips. Now,
Yeah. So let's
yeah,
talk about TVs then. Yeah,
TVs. Now we talked about, I think, and we actually mentioned TCL last week, didn't we? I did mention a
we
115
did.
inch one, but they've actually got announced a brand new 115 inch one, uh, running, what is it, mini LED TV. So the image should be really, really good. I mean, it's got a snappy name. It's the 115QM89. You'll never forget that. But yeah, they are claiming this is the world's largest mini LED TV with quantum dot technology. Uh, it looks a beast, doesn't it? 20,000 dimming zones on it.
Well, I know this is
What?
bonkers.
It's an insane number. It's got a 6.2.2 channel Dolby Atmos speaker system built into TV. This could actually be a TV with a decent speaker setup for once. What else we got? We got an AIPQ Ultra processor. So apparently it will deliver higher quality and crisper images, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you still get a 120 hertz panel. You're getting AMD FreeSync in there, Dolby Vision IQ. It's apparently IMAX enhanced certified, what it should do. Don't have a price. I'm
No,
guessing
it
it's
wasn't.
very
I know so.
expensive.
I would have to say, you think TCL, you think, oh, Chinese brand, I'm not going to buy one of those. But actually, when you look at the lineup here on what the
Yeah.
features and capabilities they have, and you compare that to, the likes of Sony or
Yep.
Samsung, who you would traditionally say do make great TVs,
Yep.
I've got to admit, if I was in the market for a television that's as big as my wall, this is definitely a place I look. And as I said to you, before, that one I've got in our dining room that just does stuff for the
Yep.
kids is a great TV. But to have one here that would have all of that capability is something
I mean,
stunning.
they do have
And
some
also,
smaller ones with mini
yeah, I
LED.
was going
They
to say they
announced at the
announced the
same
S
time.
lineup, wasn't
I
it?
think the smallest is like, I want to say 65 inches, so probably a bit too big for my living room still, as we got a 55. But it'd be something to consider when I go to replace the TV.
Well, so they announced obviously that 115-inch big bad boy, but they had the Q6 Pro, which, yeah, as you say, came in 50 to 85 inches, and they
But that's
also
not
had the
mini LED. That's just
no,
quantum dot
that's
LED. Yeah.
the QM7 though is mini LED though.
Yeah, along with the
That was.
Q something or eight, wasn't it?
Yeah,
QM8.
but they also, I mean, along outside of these kind of ultra LED ones, they did release some new S line ones, didn't they? Which are the lower end TVs. Again, so they the S5, which is they're 4K
Yeah,
in 4325 screens. Again, HDR Pro Plus, Dolby Vision, as you said. I mean, then that what more do you want realistically? For most people, let's be honest.
yeah.
For most people who want just a decent TV that has a decent picture, you know, it's going to please, I think, majority of consumers, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I'm saying, especially if they're considerably undercutting the competition price wise, which TCL usually do. So, I'd be interested to see some actual pricing on this new kit. Well, also, is it available in the UK?
Well, yeah, that's the question. But yeah, pricing, I would be surprised if they came in uh, anywhere, above or beyond what she said the mainstream players are coming in at.
Yeah,
You're going to pay considerably less, and probably, let's say if the one, what was it, the one I bought it for, the 32-inch one. I think I paid less than just under
just for
200
200
pounds for
quid,
that.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. I did see one thing. I know it is in the show notes, but I wanted to mention it. I don't know if you saw it. It was the Acer 57-inch ultra wide monitor that they announced at CES.
Oh no, I've not seen that one.
So it wasn't a show, but it was just something I sort of caught my eye as I was doing my research and writing the notes up. So it's 57-inch, part of their Predator lineup. So it's the Predator Z57, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Dual UHD resolution.
Wow. Okay.
7,680 by 2160 pixels.
Wow. That's a lot of pixels to push.
Mini LED, 120 hertz refresh rate. I was just like, what? Will be available apparently in the second second quarter, so after March, for
pricey, I think.
€2,500.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, $2,500, €2,400. So let's call that £2,500 as well. Ouch. 1,000 nits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was on it. But talking of Asus, then, in terms of not Acer but Asus, they also launched a new monitor, didn't they, at CES?
They did. Folding monitors are all the rage nowadays, but this was it looks really good. I'd definitely be interested in it, especially for traveling with work. So they created a foldable OLED kind of portable monitor called the Zen Screen Fold. So when folded, it's just less than 0.4 inches thick, about the size of a hardcover book. So it should be easy to slot into your bag. But when unfolded, it gives you a 17.3 inch QHD plus, so 2560 by 1920 pixels. A screen. It's got mini HDMI, USB ports, audio jacks. Looks really, really nice till you get to the price. $2,000 for a 17-inch screen.
I've got a thought on this. You're right. External monitors are great, and you're right. These folding monitors are all the rage. I think you and I were talking about not on the podcast, but we were looking at external monitors before, weren't we? Like to plug in. And it adds something to it. And the folding monitor now, given the folding screens on the folding phones, folding tablets, it is natural that we'd have folding monitors to do it. And this, as you say, is 17.3 inches across. It's pretty decent sized monitor. You can bend it in half so you have like a weird screen look for it. I don't know how that's going to work. What applications would look like on that, but and the screen resolution of it is the resolution support, QHD, amazing. But the bit that really kind of like me was it weighs the same as a laptop.
Yeah, it's not that light. But then neither is a 17-inch monitor. But I'm not
lugging that around, am I?
No, exactly. It's definitely small and compact when folded, but not necessarily that light and very pricey.
It is impressive. I can't say anything else. And you're right. Folding monitors really are, really are all the rage at the minute, aren't they? Now, I don't know. Would you buy one? I'm curious.
Not for $2,000. No. I mean, I think it would be great. Maybe the version 2 that's lighter and cheaper. Definitely. If it wasn't so heavy and it wasn't so pricey, I mean, I think it'd be quite handy as you're traveling. Not personal, but for work. Yeah, if I get work to pay for it, sure.
I maybe it's me. I don't. Maybe I'm the wrong consumer here for this. I just can't see a use case for it. Um,
Mm.
when for me, not for anybody else. I mean, for me, because I'm like, if I'm on the road, I've got my laptop, it's fine. If I need a second screen, then what am I doing away from my desk that I'm working on like that? Yeah, I guess sometimes it would be handy in a hotel room when I'm working on large spreadsheets or
Yeah,
two documents, but that's rare. If I'm doing that stuff, I kind of factor it into my time that I'm doing at home or at the office where we're lucky to have
maybe.
34-inch widescreens.
Then you also
Um,
take your iPad, so you can just
yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
sidecar.
yeah.
Well, I can't do that on Windows, but on your Mac you can. But then that's also a very expensive second monitor.
It is, but a bit like the Lenovo mouthful that we talked about earlier, it
Yeah,
does other stuff, doesn't it?
it does
You
indeed.
know,
Yeah,
but this is, I mean, I have to say, it looks quite an impressive bit of kit. What was it? The shape of it. I read some. What was it? Was it water drop shaped fold? So there's the crease is
it's like
minimal on it, but you
if you
see
ever
it.
looked at the Surface Book, it's that hinge like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. That's kind of bulb look, isn't it? The
Yeah,
back. Look, pretty impressive. Great connectivity, fantastic resolution. Um, and yeah, you're right. For a lot of people, this will be a great bit of kit. Um, you know, but the price, yeah, 2 grand. You could buy a decent laptop for that money.
yeah, very decent laptop. Yeah,
That's the worry. You could buy a very decent laptop. So I'm unsure. Of how many of these are going to sell, but I'm
probably not that
I'm
many.
sure they will sell many of them. But yeah, there you go.
No.
Talking of expensive things, then.
Yes, yes. So I don't know. I like the Intel NUC range. Big fan of it. I have a lot of them around my house. Use them as in my home lab. But obviously, Intel announced was it last year they were discontinuing it, but they had actually sold the rights to Asus to manufacture them. So Asus has actually started to release its first NUCs now. So it has released some traditional ones, a NUC Pro and a normal NUC, but it's also released the ROG NUC, the ROG NUC. Now, I'm not sure on your thoughts on this one. I'm not convinced it's a NUC. I mean, it's 2.5 liters. It's probably 3 times the size of a normal Intel NUC. So it's quite a big, beastly machine. But
It is big.
it is
It's
big.
not big as in desktop size
No,
big,
no,
but
definitely
compared to
not.
what traditional NUCs have been like,
Mm,
with that stand that it's on,
yeah.
it does look quite chunky.
Yeah, although they are sticking an awful lot in there. I mean, there are two variants. One with a Core Ultra 7 155H and an RTX 4060, and the other one with an Ultra 9 185H and an RTX 4070 GPU. So you get two DDR SODIMM slots for up to 64 gig of RAM. You get three NVMe slots. You get Wi-Fi 6E and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. You get plenty of USB 3s. You get Thunderbolt 4 ports, even a card reader. So it has got a lot of stuff shoved into that 2.5 liters.
Yeah, yeah. You're right. I mean, this is not your average home lab bit of kit. This is almost a gaming PC, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a gaming
You
PC in a
know,
small form factor.
you know, as you say, this one comes by the name of Scorpion Canyon. We've had other ones like Skull Canyon in the past, haven't we? Things like
Yeah.
that. So Intel have made themselves high-end, powerful
Well, yeah, they've
NUCs, but
made bigger versions of the NUC, haven't they? Yeah.
this does take it to a whole different level. And I mean, the fact that, as you say, that you get uh, Ultra 7s or Ultra 9 processors, NVIDIA GPUs in there. This is a gaming rig in a
Yeah.
small shoebox.
Maybe something to put under your TV.
Maybe so, yeah. I mean, impressive pack kit, super powerful, masses of connectivity outputs. And it's kind of, I guess, is this now kind of Asus or Asus, however you were pronouncing them, putting their mark on it, isn't it? Putting it.
It is.
Now, I should state that the NVIDIA GPU is the RT is a laptop chip in there, isn't it? It's not the
It is,
desktop
but this is
version.
laptop CPU chips and laptop GPU chips. Yeah, so
Yeah, and you can, they're designed, as you say, they can be positioned horizontally, vertically, wherever you want to put them, TVs in a lab or whatever you want. It is a handy form factor. But yeah, what gets me is how much is this going to cost? That's the thing. because they
I don't
looks
know.
were affordable, weren't they? Let's be honest, to at low end, and you could upgrade your
Yeah,
own chips in
I
that.
bet this is going to be £1,200, £1,300.
Do you know what made
Easily.
me chuckle though? Is why the fact that they measured its capacity in liters.
They always do for PC cases, though, don't they?
It was bizarre though, wasn't it? It was like 2.5 liters. I mean, what? Excuse me? I'm like, yeah. What
I mean,
about
the nuts are
kilos
usually measured in
or
liters as well, just to show how small it is. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess yeah.
It's accounting for internal volume, isn't it? But doesn't really tell you anything about the actual shape of the machine.
No, and I know that they liters you use for cases, but it just looked odd,
It is an odd
on this
one, isn't it?
particular
Yeah.
one. But no, a very impressive bit of kit, and one that I look forward to seeing some people running it. I'm sure in our professional group, there'll be people who
There'll be
do
some in
things
our
with them.
Homeland group that have bought them.
Yeah,
I
who
imagine.
will buy one? But yeah, definitely nice bit of kit, and if you can afford one, then probably something to aspire to if you're upgrading your lab or you want a new fancy high performance gaming or just desktop PC, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, talking of things we would like,
Oh yes,
Steam Decks. I know me and you have pondered this many times and nearly bought some, especially when they announced the new ones. But there is I suppose exciting, but a little bit of a letdown news-wise. We have a Steam Deck competitor, a new one that was allegedly running Steam OS when it was first announced. But we'll get into that in a minute. So the company's called Ayaneo.
I think that's that's probably
Yeah, they've
close
made.
enough.
I've seen them a lot of times before. They usually make Windows-based ones, and they were building these kind of machines before the Steam Deck came out. But they brought out what they call the Ayaneo Next Lite as a kind of budget handheld as a competitor for the Steam Deck. It's only going to cost $299, so it is cheap, definitely. So it was initially announced with Steam OS, but they've kind of restated that it's in fact running a fork of Steam OS called, is it Hollow ISO?
Hollow ISO, I think, is
Yeah.
the way it reads, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hollow HOLO
An
ISO in
ISO,
capital letters.
like ISO
Yeah.
images, yeah. So it's a fork of Steam OS. It's not official, so I don't know how well that's going to be. But hardware-wise, it's an interesting mix. We've got an 800p IPS display, not OLED on the brand new Steam Decks. We've got a slightly older AMD CPU in there, or two choices, either a Ryzen 5 4500U or a Ryzen 7 4800U. So say it's an older CPU than what's in the Steam Deck currently. So interesting to see how that pans out performance-wise.
Well, they're 40. It's 40. That's a 4-year-old processor.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's Zen 2 or Zen 3 on that one.
Yeah.
But you're still getting 16 gig of RAM. One nice touch is you're actually getting full length NVMe slots. I think you only get
That's good.
length ones
Yeah.
in the Steam Deck, which makes them hard to get hold of and more expensive. You're getting a very comparable 47 milliwatt hour battery like the Steam Deck. Very nicely, you're getting Hall effect joysticks, so you don't get joystick drift, and you can have it in multiple colors. So I'll be very interested to see how this plays out at $299 because that's very reasonably priced.
It is, and I think the reason it's priced, as you're right, is the stock, the chips are they using. It is a Zen 2, it's a 7 nanometer Zen 2. So Ryzen 5 4500, you say, or the Ryzen 7. So there is a bit of a play there, but they are the 4000 series as opposed to the Ryzen 7. Was it 5825? I think we usually say in the Steam Deck. So that's where I think they're cutting costs on that. The OS side of it, forking it probably helps with the licensing again, doesn't it? On that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, they can still run Windows. These machines can still run Windows. If you decide you don't want Linux, you just want Windows, just load Windows 11 on it.
I mean, it looks. I mean, the kind of marketing images looks a great looking machine. It's in white with orange kind of accents on the buttons, isn't it? And it does look a nice machine. And at first glance, you could say Steam Deck. And I think, as I said to you when we were kind of talking about the show and the notes, the problem is there's only so many ways to skin a cat, isn't it? In terms of a handheld device.
But it is coming in different colours. They showed an image of what they call it, seafoam green, which is kind of a pastel green. But apparently, it's going to come in multiple different colours, so you have a bit of personalisation there.
I like it. I think it's a nice looking machine. I don't know whether or not I'd want to go for it. I still have aspirations of a Steam Deck. I can't justify it in my personal kind of. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
But so I guess it's one of the things. At some point, I'm going to buy it. I will do. It'll happen.
Or a competitor will bring out something that's even more compelling, and you'll get that. I mean, the Asus, the ROG Ally, or what they call it, That looks pretty good. And MSI just recently brought one out, and Lenovo's got one. I mean, everyone
Yeah, we've
seems
got
to
the
be bringing them
Legion. We
out.
got the Legion Go, which is the size of a house brick, isn't it? You
Yeah,
got, as you say, the Asus Ali. Is it Ali or LA?
yeah,
Which is the other
Ally,
one.
whatever. Yeah, we've
Yeah,
got the
we've there are
MSI
competitive.
Claw.
Exactly, there are competitive machines out there, but I think this is the first one to fork SteamOS, though, isn't it? As I
It
understand
is.
it.
All the rest have come with Windows on them.
Yeah, so this definitely keeps your cost down, I suppose. I am. I'm intrigued. To
Yeah.
be absolutely honest with you, I'm intrigued by it. You know, and
Yeah.
and
ANEO?
ANEO, this isn't their first handheld,
Nope, they've got
isn't it?
plenty. They've traditionally all been running Windows. Say these came out long before the Steam Deck ever appeared. They've been doing these for a very long time.
Yeah. So actually, you could argue, oh well, these are some. No, these guys are not a startup. These are people that have been making handhelds for a while. So actually, they've got good pedigree there, haven't they?
Yep, they have.
And there was a question I saw on the article that was published. There's a question that said why doesn't Valve work with them to bring SteamOS to these other handhelds? And I guess for Steam at the minute, or Valve, excuse me, it's probably not something they want to do, is it? Really?
So this is an odd one because they originally tried to bring out what do they call him? Steam machines, didn't they?
They did, and I tried. They did release them, and do you
They
remember
did release
Alienware
them,
made
and
of them?
they had them with other man. They didn't make their own. They licensed or whatever for free. I don't know how much it cost to many OEMs to go and build, but they've taken a different track with this one.
Yeah, because I was exploring it because, like I said, Alienware made one that was
They
super
did, yeah,
expensive, and you could download the Steam OS or whatever it was, Steam OS, wasn't it? I think I can't
yeah. It
remember
was
what it
I'm
was
sure
called.
it was Steam OS. Yeah, this is
You
just a
could you could
continuation of
roll
it.
you could roll your own fork, you could roll it, and you could build your own. And I was really tempted by it for a while, but like everything, in the fashion of Google, it died a death, didn't it? A bit like the Steam
Did I think the
controllers, all
problem
that
with
kind
that
of
is though
stuff.
they were very expensive, and you were paying a
Really.
premium over normal PC hardware for inferior compatibility with games. Whilst this way around, Valve went there and said, right, we'll build the hardware, we'll build it low cost but good enough, and we built the OS, and we really concentrated on compatibility with games.
The one thing I'd say though is I feel that all of these things like the Steam OS, the Steam Link, the Steam controllers,
Yeah,
all of those have led to this.
they have. Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, they all of those, I guess, almost like experiments to understand the gaming. Like the Steam controllers have the same controller sets
Touchpad thing, yeah.
on the Steam Deck today. You got the way to play the games remotely. So Steam Link built in. The Steam machines that we've just talked about again is the kind of same, not hardware, but get all factoring in, all giving feedback, and what we've got at the end of it is a handheld machine, not a desktop that they were kind of playing
Exactly.
with. So yeah, I think it's good to have competition in this space. I think it helps Valve probably refine their offering. It's a bit like Android when you've got Google making the Pixels that are vanilla gold standard of Android experience,
Yeah,
aren't they? And that's probably the same now for when you look at the Steam Deck. That is going to be the gold standard, the vanilla experience. But you could go off and get a Neo handheld with hollow ISO kind of stuff.
yeah,
It does the same thing, but you're going to be lacking some of the capabilities or features, but the
yeah.
basics are there. So no, I like it. I have to say I like it. It's a nice looking device. It's not I think what was it price wise not too expensive, as you said. Was it
Yeah.
299? Sorry, I
I'm
think.
interested to see the UK pricing and what the reviews say performance wise.
Yeah, definitely. So, but no, absolutely great machine. A good way to finish off
Yeah.
our CES roundup for this year. Then, but before we go, then I know you wanted to drop this little security story that popped up, didn't it? Off X last week.
It was, yes. So no rumor mill today, but we thought this would be funny. So yes, Twitter. I'm not calling it X. So the SEC, the Security Exchange Commission in the US, they had their official Twitter account hacked and used to post a fake notice approving Bitcoin ETFs. Yeah, surprisingly, that notice made a brief spike in the Bitcoin price before it was corrected by the SEC themselves. So yeah, they kind of have confirmed the account was compromised. The notice wasn't from them. Twitter's going to determine the compromise was due to an individual gaining control of the phone number. So that old is it SIM swap trick?
Yeah, that's the one.
Managed to
Yeah.
get, because Twitter obviously doesn't have any proper 2FA. It's only via SIM card, isn't it?
Well, they Twitter said that they confirmed the account did not have 2FA enabled at the time the account was compromised. But as we all know, since Elon Musk took over, the 2FA is broken.
It doesn't work. So yeah.
So and what came off the back of this, wasn't it, that the SEC account decided to post fake approval for Bitcoin ETFs, wasn't it?
It did, yeah.
Which then boosted the Bitcoin value as people were like, "Oh, this is great!" And apparently, the post said that it was an official looking post. I did see it actually, and it was said today the SEC grants approval for Bitcoin ETFs for listing on all registered national securities exchanges. The approved Bitcoins ETFs will be subject to ongoing surveillance and compliance. And it had like a little picture, didn't it, with the picture of the chair of the SEC, almost like a little official statement, didn't it, like a quote?
Yeah.
And apparently the quote from him, and this is fake, says, "Today's approval enhances market transparency and provides investors with efficient access to digital asset investments with a regulated framework." Let's be honest, that does sound like
Pretty
something legalese that you'd have. And it caused a massive spike on the Bitcoin. So Bitcoin price jumped from 46,000 to 47,000, and then slumped back down to 46. Slunk back down to 45, but apparently has come back up to around 46 at the time of writing. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Are you surprised by this? I mean, the other week it was Mandiant, wasn't it, getting their Twitter account hacked?
Yeah.
I don't trust X as far as I can throw him. I really don't.
No. It's just going downhill rapidly.
It just does not give you any confidence, does it, that your account is secure?
Nope, not at all.
Well, on that note, then, it's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. Thanks for joining us to talk through the CES lineup of 2024. Always an amazing show. And of course, we've only touched a real small segment of what is available at CES. So we encourage you to go off and have a look. Google CES 2024 and let's look at all of the equipment, tech, consumer goods that has been launched, because there are thousands and thousands of products that are out there. So do take a look at that. Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Weekly Tech Rant. All of our show notes are at techrant.online, where we post all the links to everything we've talked about today. And you can also find us wherever you get your podcasts. So if you're sharing it with your friends, wherever they may be. So then, I've been Jay.
I've been muted. I'm Carl. Have a good evening, all.
We'll be back next week, where Carl will be unmuted.